Today's movie is one part Halloween, one part The Beyond, and it's totally awesome. Welcome to Sick Flicks, where I take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to help you embrace your inner gore geek. I'm Mike Bracken, aka The Horror Geek, and today we're taking a trip to the Cemetery of Terror. Released in 1985, Cemetery of Terror was director Ruben Galindo Jr.'s feature film debut. Galindo has been the man responsible for some of my favorite Mexican horror features like Don't Panic and The Grave Robbers, but does his debut measure up? Let's get to the gore and find out. Oh, and before we get started, today's video is sponsored by patrons Billy Constantine, Keith Johnson, and Christina Vargas. If you'd like to help sponsor some videos and free me from the shackles of YouTube's tyranny, you'll find a link to my Patreon in the pinned comment and description below. And now, let's get bloody. We fade in on some credits. Starring Hugo Stiglitz. Fun fact, Quentin Tarantino named Till Schweiger's character in Inglourious Basterds after him. We last saw him in City of the Walking Dead. And a Balkan. I think I paid $6,000 to get the Balkan replaced in my Beamer a few years back. Man, the title card has some water damage. This is why you never store your credits in the basement. Music by Chucho Sarsosa, who sounds like someone Tony Montana muscled out of the coke business in Scarface. Written and directed by Ruben Galindo Jr. He'd write and direct a bunch of horror and action schlock in his career, but this was his first feature. We last saw him when I covered Don't Panic. The film proper opens with a live look at me hard at work scripting this episode. How do these movies always get this footage? Is Siri spying on me again? Then this guy's slumber is interrupted by a dream sequence. Wavy transition. Oh, he's just dreaming about the script for this movie. And he's chasing a lady down a hallway. Wait, he just wants to compliment your romper. Maybe she's a manicurist and she's refusing to fix those cuticles. Yeah, pretty sure I just nailed it. If you're being chased by a dude with a wicked case of nail fungus, would you really wait for the elevator? Take the stairs, dummy. The damsel in distress goes running into the nearest elevator where she boasts that she's number one. But it retorts with a giant pimp hand. She gets beat like she stole something and the cops are looking somewhere. Oh well, since it's a dream sequence, I guess it doesn't have to make sense. Officers Waldo's Dollar Mart de Mexico, Danny Trejo, and the Macarena guys from Los Del Rio are none too pleased. They run down to the first floor where our damsel is dead on her feet. Literally. And now they're blasting like they cornered El Chapo, which leads to football practice. You know, because it's Mexico. Between this and Nightmare City, I feel like Hugo Stiglitz spends a lot of time waking up from dreams that are horror movies. He heads to bed, but his slumber is interrupted by a phone call. If this is his station manager saying he needs to get down to the airport because a plane of radioactive running zombies is about to land, we're just going to splice in the rest of the Nightmare City video here. Turns out Devlon is in trouble. Which might have more impact if I knew who Devlon was. Meanwhile, Wear Your Whitest Whites Day at Texas Southmost College is going super well. There's no title card here, but it's clearly not Labor Day yet because these dudes would never commit the fashion faux pas of wearing white after Labor Day. Anyway, they want to trick their girlfriends into joining them for a night at a haunted house. And now we're on the set of Cruel Jaws. Budget Hulkster was in that movie, but in this movie we get the fabulous Moolah. Ah, these must be the ladies that the bros are trying to take to the spook house. They jibber jabber for a while about wanting to go to a rock concert instead, but we know where they'll end up. I think someone just forgot to turn off the camera here, or we just needed to watch them walk down the dock in real time. Whatever the case, I admire Ruben Galindo Jr.'s total dedication to killing any narrative momentum his movie had built. I guess he just spliced in his vacation footage for a tax write-off. After like more than 5 minutes of padding, we rejoin Hugo Stiglitz, who's looking eerily similar to Wayne Coyne from The Flaming Lips. He's been informed that his psychiatric patient, Devlon, was the guy that the police filled with lead at the beginning of the movie. Dude's racked up an impressive body count too. Be nice if, some of that had happened in this movie instead of 20 minutes of water skiing. Hugo wants him cremated immediately, but the police captain insists on him being buried in a pauper's grave. Hugo's not happy to hear this, and he's got some parting words for the captain.
Él no es un ser como usted o como yo. Es un demonio.
Demonio, indeed. With that backstory out of the way, we get to what we've all been waiting for. A house establishing shot. And right on cue, our 30-somethings arrive in their family truckster. Let's hope there was no leash hanging off that bumper.
Claro, ¿qué crees que somos estúpidos o qué?
Well, since you ask, yes. Tanya Harding here has a bad feeling, though. Maybe she watched the scene with the doctor and the captain from earlier. While that's going on, Hugo's over here reworking the lyrics to the captain. This is going to be the Flaming Lips' biggest hit. Speaking of the captain, he and his grandkids are busy making some sweet masks. I wonder if this is going to pay off. Who cares? Let's get to the party where they're enjoying some J&B with their Pepsi Free. You kids even remember Pepsi Free? Christ, I'm old. Things are not going well for our frat bros as most of their dates are colder than that Pepsi-free. Donny Osmond here tries to smooth things over, but nothing doing. You could say it's a bit of a Mexican standoff in there. With the lady shutting him down, Donnie goes upstairs and finds a door that leads to the attic. I bet there's a copy of the Necronomicon up there. Holy shit, there actually is. Let's hope he takes it downstairs and reads it aloud to get the party started. He closes the book and, either that says Devlon or Bevlon. But whatever it says, it's definitely gonna get a bunch of them killed. He heads downstairs and yep, here he goes reading it. We all know how reading old text aloud always livens up a party. His reading somehow makes the ladies even more frigid. I haven't seen people this bored at a reading since Twilight came out. Undaunted, Donnie has an idea. He's gonna keep scaring the girls so that they hate the three of them even more. He clearly got a master's degree in pickup at the Mystery Academy. His first step toward throwing the absolute worst party of all time is to summon the devil. And you can just sense the girls are loosening up already. The second step is they use their devil power to reanimate a corpse. I'm not gonna lie, this sounds better than most parties I've been to. Donnie wants to get everybody to the morgue right away so that they can steal a body. Seriously, what the fuck, Donnie? They head out, and judging by all this smoke, it must have been time for the Teamsters to take their 420 break. Over in another movie, Price Club Ducky Dale is taking the neighborhood kids out for some trick-or-treating. Or maybe they're just trying to find someone to buy them beer. Could go either way. Man, check out this kid's sweet Michael Jackson jacket. You sure can't beat it. Anyway, plan B is to take the kids to the nearby cemetery so that they can all die. But first, he flags down a ride from this stranger in a big white van. I'm sure this is fine. With those kids thoroughly kidnapped by the cartel, we head back to Donnie and his bros on their mission to steal a body. He must be Jill Valentine this Halloween. It's convenient that the morgue is apparently in the same gym as Suspiria. Eventually, they find the autopsy room and wow, they've got their pick of the litter. And if you guessed they were going to grab Devlon's corpse from the start of the movie, give yourself a screenwriter's credit. While they're wheeling Devlon out the back door, Hugo and the captain show up to burn him. Listen to this amazing sound effect. That's arriving in style. They head inside, and I have to wonder if there's even a point to Hugo Stiglitz buttoning his shirt here. He's the sexiest Dr. Loomis ripoff ever. Rawr. Speaking of Loomis, they load Devlon into the car and make their escape. The evil is gone from here. Back in the Cemetery of Terror, Donnie starts the ceremony and their corpse starts wiggling. This is either the greatest party ever or the worst party ever. I think it might be both. Everyone decides this has gotten way too weird, so they leave the corpse behind and split. I can't believe this. Hugo and the captain are in hot pursuit now, and they're also looking for the book that Donnie stole earlier. Man, this is the most convenient plot of all time. And speaking of convenient, Miguel Myers is awake now, and he's ready to do some damage. I sure hope he's going to find an old William Shatner mask laying around somewhere. Plotline 3 shows up at the cemetery, and I must say I'm shocked that the guy in the white van was on the up and up. Why is it not raining here? This is the same cemetery, right? Continuity is hard. The captain pulls plot number 2 over so that he can make a phone call, and Hugo uses this as a chance to steal his cruiser. Why? Back in movie 1, Moolah and Donnie are finally ready to party. Who knew that desecrating a corpse during a black mask would be such a turn-on? Upstairs, even Tanya Harding is getting into it. Donnie was right all along. Take notes, fellas. Our third couple is getting cozy on the porch, but it looks like a shaky cam is watching them. Devlon calling. The boyfriend goes back inside to get more booze, but when he comes back, his date is gone. There's good news and bad news here. Good news is he found her close by. Bad news is she's super duper dead. Devlon gives her mourning boyfriend a couple of pimp claws for his trouble, then eviscerates him. You could say that dude really spilled his guts. Inside, the dude with the Mexican mud flap is working the boombox. Man, I'm trying to get Kiss FM. Cool DJ Red Alert show is about to start. Tanya then gives him a hand with raising his antenna.
Hell yeah.
No, not like that, you pervs. I mean the antenna on the radio. Moolah heads outside to check for her newly dead friends. Man, I haven't heard music this derivative of Carpenter's Halloween score since Offerings. Anyway, she finds exactly what she was looking for. She runs inside to warn Donnie, and she's treated to this jump scare. They make the always wise decision to split up, and I'm sure that's gonna work out great. I mean, what could go wrong? Donnie heads for the stairs, but Devlon gives him a little pick-me-up. By God, Kane's setting him up for the chokeslam! My JR might actually be getting worse at this point. I might have to switch to the king. Dev goes looking for Moolah next, but she's ready with the foreign object. It's not at all effective, and she's down for the count. There's some pretty good gore here, but PruTube is not gonna let me show it. With 2/3 of the party dead, it's time for Tanya and her man candy to go next. He heads down to drain the radiator, and that's all the invite Devlon needs to head on up. While she's distracted, Devlon sneaks in to deliver some pimp claws. I think discount Tanya Harding here just got Nancy Kerrigan. The house starts going all poltergeist on us now because, yeah, sure, let's add some more supernatural to our slasher movie. I'm good with that. Even the axe is sentient, and it's going to help him part his hair. With that plotline completely closed, we head back to the cemetery as we join the kids as they wander around the Plan 9 from Outer Space set. Eventually, they find Tor Johnson's sauna. It's turned up way too high. The kids hightail it out of there and end up at, you guessed it, the haunted house. Does Ruben Galindo Jr. have the cojones to kill all these kids? Stay tuned. It's going to be a boring last half hour if he doesn't. Inside, Donnie's just hanging around. You gotta admit, he really ties the room together. They head upstairs to enjoy some sweet public domain tunes, but they find a lot more than hot new jams. They find 2 college students covered in jam. Rather than pull a Jordan Peele and get out, they flee for the attic. Too bad Devlon was already on his way up there to put his book away. Raoul is sick of hiding, though, and gives their position away. Good one, Raoul. They head for the front door, but those poltergeist powers activated again. They're stuck. Next, they try door number 2, and all they find is Luigi Montefiore from Anthropophagus. Or absurd. Hey, remember Hugo Stiglitz, aka Sexy Dr. Loomis? Yeah, he's still in this movie. He's just driving around aimlessly in his stolen cop car. The kids escape and run back through the cemetery, but it looks like Donnie's resurrection service from earlier is working better than expected. It's a return of the living dead. I think they just ran into the Thriller set. It's probably where the kid got a sweet Michael Jackson jacket. Man, they're really coming out of the woodwork. This is awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I love that this satanic slasher movie is now a zombie movie too. This is why I love Ruben Galindo Jr. I mean, this is like a Fulci-level zombie apocalypse. They're close to the cemetery gates when the kid in the Michael Jackson jacket falls into a hole. You could say he's in some grave trouble. With Devlon inching closer and closer, they're able to get him free. I hope he didn't get too much mud on his sweet jacket or his mom's gonna kill him. Kids finally get to the cemetery gates, but they're locked up tighter than a drum. They start jimmying with it, but that only makes it erect.
Hell yeah.
No, not like that, you pervs. I mean, the gate gets taller. Honestly, the wall isn't very high. You might just toss the kids over it. With the zombie horde closing in, Hugo rejoins the plot. He tells the kids to scram, and he gives the fence a ram. Ooh, that rhymed. Buy my new hip-hop album, dropping never. The kids apparently learned nothing from earlier as they willingly jump into another stranger's car, but no worries, Hugo's pretty cool. And if you thought the car wouldn't start back up, give yourself a screenwriter's credit. Damn foreign cars. Wait. With the car dead in the water, or dead on the grass in this case, Hugo yanks the kids out of the car and they take off for some more running. Hugo even finds time to dole out a few pimp hands. Before they can make like a tree and leave, Hugo gets crushed by this oak. I would not believe it if I hadn't seen it myself. Hugo then reveals the only way to stop all of this is the Black Book, which leads to more plot convenience. Kids dash back to the house and grab the book. If they can burn this thing like it's a book the Florida legislature hates, we can wrap this whole movie up. Unfortunately, Devlon uses the Jedi mind trick to make them bring the book to him. But just as he's about to get his nasty hands on the tome, Hugo shows up with a crucifix. Hugo and Devlon go mano-y-mano, but the girl can't burn the book because she's under Dev's spell. With the cross useless, Hugo offers Devlon a seat. That doesn't work either. But all that violence snaps the girl out of her trance and she takes off for the fireplace. This is the rare occasion where I support burning books. I think we should all relax by the fire now with a nice Pepsi free. And as the sun rises over the spooky mansion, 5 traumatized kids head home with years of therapy ahead for them. But that can't be the end. I feel a swerve coming. Wait for it. Yeah, there it is. And freeze frame ending. See, the Italians weren't the only ones who could pull that off. So, what have we learned from Cemetery of Terror? Well, for starters, Ruben Galindo Jr. might be the most crazy awesome horror film director from south of the border since Coffin Joe. If you told me someone was going to make a Halloween riff and then turn it into an homage to the Beyond in the last act, I'd have expected the worst. And yet, Galindo makes it all work here. This movie should not be this much fun. It's a shame he didn't direct a lot more horror movies. But enough about that. Can Cemetery of Terror resurrect enough corpses to fill 5 barf bags? Let's go to the gore card. In terms of gross anatomy, Cemetery of Terror delivers. We're treated to throat ripping, gut spilling, face slashing, bottle stabbing, zombie burning, and skull cleaving. While this isn't a full-on splatter classic, it delivers more than enough gore to earn a 4 barf bag rating. This is definitely a sick little flick. Looking for more Galindo Jr. goodness? Then be sure to check out my review of Don't Panic. You'll find a link here on the screen. I'll meet you over there. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.